It's another Saturday Night Horror review, this time from 1989, Age of Sanity. You can see here it's Anthony Perkins playing a dual role here. Now this film, didn't know anything about it. I had it in my VHS collection, always put it off. Obviously Anthony Perkins is most famous for playing Norman Bates from Psycho in the 4 films in that series. And this was a few years before his death, 3 years before his death actually. He was in his late 50s when he did this, so he get an older Anthony Perkins. He puts on a great performance, and he's got a British accent in this, and it sounds quite authentic. Let's talk a little bit about this film. I think what this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde adaptation. Didn't even know that at all until I started watching it. Didn't do any research on it. And then it's even got Jack the Ripper-esque. He goes on a Jack the Ripper-esque killing spree. And that's what they do. It's set in 19th century London, and they capture a really quaint blend of 80s and 19th century. Very atmospheric film. Loved it. Highly recommend watching it. I'll get into the more specifics as we go on here. So, anyway, like I said, wonderful performance from Anthony Perkins. And in the opening scene, we have him as a boyish voyeur, where he's having this dream where he witnesses his dad, who is a farmer, screwing this woman in the barn. I don't know who it was. It was a prostitute or some slut, I guess. It wasn't his mom, I don't think. Anyway, his dad ends up beating him after he gets caught for it. And you're like, was this an incident from his childhood? And yes, they prove that it's an incident from his childhood, because he wakes up. It's haunting him in a nightmarish way, a nightmarish reoccurrence throughout his life. And then they obviously go to modern times, where he's in his late 50s, he's a successful doctor in London on the brink of a medical breakthrough, and he tests on this monkey, and he's really well lauded in the community, obviously. This is the whole Dr. Jekyll aspect of it. And so one night he accidentally takes this tonic where it has adverse effects on him, and he obviously turns into Mr. Hyde. And when he does that, they give him this freakish, really makeup, and this movie really gets lewd and barbaric. It's brutal, and it's pretty raunchy too, with the sexual and sensuous deaths and everything. He just goes on this spree of killing prostitutes left and right. It's pretty entertaining for the first hour, and so he romps around town terrorizing these prostitutes, and it gets pretty old and repetitive, but the story kind of goes along, but no one really catches on. His wife suspects, well, what are you doing? Are you actually working when you go out? He's like, yes, I'm working with the man named Mr. Hyde. And he's really weird when he's Mr. Hyde. He's just socially awkward and right to the point. It's just one sexual, violent escapade after another. It's just a non-stop slew of prostitutes he encounters and kills. Not much depth there. The Scotland Yard police, they really never catch on to him. And then they suspect, because of the anatomical cuts and dissection of the body, that it has to be a doctor. So they consult Mr. Hyde, or Dr. Jekyll, Anthony Perkins, the doctor, and he has his own little kind of crazy episodes because he was traumatized as a kid and everything. Those scenes, they really don't go into that much depth. It's really the Anthony Perkins show here. He was a tremendous actor too. There was another role that he played where he plays a crazy guy. other than Psycho and other than this, it was How Awful About Alan. That was from 1970. It's actually a public domain horror film, so if you have one of those 50 packs of horror movies, those mega collections that they like sell in bulk, you know, the ones with Phantom of the Opera and stuff like that. Kathy's Curse are usually in it, and like Little Shop of Horrors. Anyway, How Awful About Alan. It's all over YouTube anyway if you don't have it. That's another good one. And I think it's based on a book, or they wrote a movie adaptation for it, which I'd love to get my hands on. But definitely watchable. I have that one on VHS also. And that's one where he was like, in the opening scene, there's a huge fire, and the family blames it on him, and his dad ended up dying, so he goes to a asylum for a while, and he comes back home, and he doesn't know if he's insane or not. You know, that's a really good one. Highly recommend that one. And highly recommend this one. Like I said, very stylish filmmaking. I loved the cinematography of this. Anyway, this was JBM from another Saturday night horror review. Leave a comment. Drop a suggestion of what I should review next. It might be a book, it might be a movie from any decade. This was JBM from Mr. Creepshow 9. I'm out. Thanks for watching.